Welcome back to NTT 2019. Tonight we're at Tokyo Expressway, and it's the East Inner Loop. The East Outer Loop is a firm favourite among drivers, but in the opposite direction, it possesses its own unique challenges. They're just setting off on the pace lap now. You could see that, of course, as NTT has a reverse grid system, then you can see that Jag is at the front, just behind the pace car, followed by Barrelz, Test Tube, Mop Racer, Thor. Z is a reserve driver. He's subbing for DNA Bushi, taking Bushi's slot on the grid. And we have a new team to replace Agit Motorsports in the Hyundai Genesis. That team kind of dissolved. We have a new team, Zanavi NSX rated. They're driving the Hondas, which, being a newly formed team in the middle of the championship, are starting their first race at the back. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on. Now, Tokyo has been. Now I'm talking about the driver. No one sleep in Tokyo. He's been with NGT and NTT since the beginning. He's recently gone on holiday. He's come back, so this is his first race in a little while now. So his will be a very interesting race to watch, I'm sure. His teammate raced previously as a reserve driver for Agit Motorsports. Right at the back there, that's gunslinger Nunu. So, right, now here's Belvika. Now, he's currently leading the championship. He's got 56 points compared to Judoka in second with 44 points. So, we'll be looking to see whether he can further extend his lead. He's won 2 out of 3 races so far, came second in the third round. And so, if he can continue to do well, and if Super Chicken, his teammate, well, actually, Super Chicken isn't here. He seems to have missed this race, and no reserve driver was found in time. So certainly the standings of the Virgin Zuma Time team will be well, their fortunes will certainly decline to some degree at this race. They're currently in first with 88 points. DNA Oracle team has 79 points. DNA Oracle in the red and silver Ferraris. Now, they're on the home straight. Soon the pace car will pull over into the pit lane. The cars will pass, and when the word start is said over the driver radios, then they will pull away and be able to start trying to overtake each other. So here's Jag. He's going to be under the most pressure in this vital first part of the race. Now they're coming up to a very, very tight hairpin, very slow. Drivers will be going around that about sort of roughly 30 to 40 miles per hour. Right, now the pace car has pulled away, and they get started. They're not allowed to overtake until the start signal is given. Let's see if we can guess where that will be. And I'm looking for signs. Yeah, it looks like, yes, they are now competing. They're now at race pace. They come piling into the first corner. They're about 2 or 3 wide in some places. It's really packing up. And there go the Renaults round the front. Oh, outbraked by Barrelz. Barrelz comes barreling into the first corner. Outbrakes Jag, manages to steal the lead. Fantastic bit of driving there. Now, Test Tube, Mop Racer and Z are all behind those two. Judoka and Z having... No, sorry, Belvika and Judoka having a little tiff there. So how's Belvika doing? He's in 7th. He's managed to gain a place. Thor, I don't know what happened to Thor. He's not come out of that very well, and Nunu's dropped a little bit further back. Now, Barrelz is already extending a lead. He's on medium tyres, and it appears that from what I've seen, most, if not the rest of the field, are also on mediums. That's interesting. It means that we'll see probably a fair bit of close racing. Now, Jag goes banging into a wall. He's banged into a wall, picked up a wall penalty, He gets off the racing line, pays the penalty immediately. He didn't necessarily have to do that, but I think he feels that it's more advantageous than paying it on the main straight, where speed is of the essence. Now, here come a number of cars. Judoka, Belvika. Belvika goes scraping against the wall there. That's unfortunate for him. He's dropped a lot of positions. He's dropped one position. He's down to 8th. Thor climbs back up to 7th. Tokyo's come up to 6th. Now that's interesting. He's done very well in this opening stage of the race. We're looking here at Mop and Judoka side by side through the main straight. It's all about slipstreaming here, and you can see there's 6 cars there, 3 abreast. That's rather a sight to see, and you can see them all charging down now. Oh, more than about 5 abreast here. Astounding. How will they pile into the first corner of the second racing lap? It's going to be extraordinary if they don't hit each other. A little bit of tyre smoke there. Oh, very, very nicely done. It's practically like sort of synchronised driving, or sort of something that's choreographed, because that was beautifully handled around there. But they have now sort of shuffled themselves into a new pecking order. Belvik has picked up 3 positions. He's up to 5th now, rather than his previous 8th. And let's see. Mop Racer has, I think he's done the worst out of that lot. Right, so what are we looking at now? We're looking at Z all over the back of Belvika. Belvika, some sparks fly. Didn't quite get through that corner perfectly. Oh, it's Test Dude is in 2nd position, but he seems to be holding up the pack somewhat. Barrelz is getting away because of this. So the rest of the pack is under great pressure to overtake Test Dude as fast as possible around a circuit that, well, isn't that permissive of overtaking, but they do manage it round the last corner. Test Dude goes wide, does not brake in time or something, and yes, the cars are now filtering past. I think. Now there's his teammate Jag and Nunu close behind him. It seems that, from what I could gather, the Renault Megane, the green car there, the Renault Megane, sorry, and the Honda NSX have roughly the same sort of top speed, so we'll expect to see a fair bit of leapfrogging probably between those back markers. But here at the front, Tokyo has gone into 2nd. And back down again to 4th. Well, that was a very brief moment of glory that faded in 1 second. Goes a little bit wide around this turn. Loses advantage to, I think that's, no, he manages to fend off Z. But now the real challenge is whether they can catch up with Barrelz. Barrelz certainly having the advantage here. Recently joined the Nissan team as a permanent member. That is the DHL Terrapins team. So Tokyo, here he is. Belvika has come up into 3rd position. That's not bad. He's managed to use that chaos to his advantage. He's closing in on Thor now. So here's Thor in the Warsteiner Racing McLaren, and he is making up time on Barrelz, it seems. After having dispatched Test Dude, they are catching up with him, but if he has to fend off Tokyo comes racing around the outside line to take 2nd position. It's an outstanding bit of driving there. That was a very difficult part of the course, and he's managed to go around the outside, which is even more difficult. It's like going the long way around to overtaking someone. So they're in the main straight again. You can see there's a little bit of drama at the back. That's Belvika has had to pay off a penalty. He's paying it off now. Now that's a disappointing moment for him, I'm sure. He had been in the top 3 not long ago, top 3 or 4, but now has dropped down to 8th, which is where he was in the first lap. Right, so Barrelz is now, the lead has now completely vanished. We're riding aboard Tokyo's car. He'll be looking for, he's following the slipstream for as long as possible, but decides he has to fend off Z as well. Brakes, corners under braking round here, not good for the tyres, but we'll have to see how their strategies pan out. Medium tyres implies that they'll be going for 9 laps per stint, but we'll have to see if they want to make their tyres last longer and go on for a longer stint on each set. So Tokyo in the lead now, having passed Barrelz at that first hairpin corner. Z in 3rd, having not been quite able to take that advantage. Tokyo beginning to slip away. I think that Barrelz has a little bit of an issue with pace. His tyres seem to be wearing out faster than the others. We have heard previously that the Nissan has higher tyre wear, and also Barrelz apparently has not really had as much time to, well, I dare say he hasn't had as much time to practice in the team, in the car of the team which he only joined recently. But he is a Nissan GTR fan. He was very excited to get on board a team that made use of the GTR. So what's this at the back? Near the back, sorry. This is Mop Racer and Test Tube having a little duel. Mop Racer is all over the back of Test Tube trying to get advantage. At the same time, Nunu is having a similar sort of battle with... Oh my goodness! That's... Okay, so what happened is that Jag slammed into a wall and then Nunu slammed into Jag. Deeply unfortunate there. It's... I mean, you could say it's sort of one of those racing incidents where the car ahead, you know, sort of caused the incident, but the car behind also, if you're very close, you do risk being affected by other drivers' mistakes. Now, that set them both back quite some way. So, back to the midfield. It's so close, you could hardly put a cigarette paper between this lot. Judoka right behind the rest. He's not going to try and make it work for an overtake round this hairpin. That was one of the... I think that was Mop or Thor. No, I think it was Thor who was having a little bit of trouble around that corner. Or was it? No, it's Thor who's got ahead and Mop who had some trouble there. A little bit of bumping, I think that was. I'm not sure, it's hard to tell. Well, Belvika's made it up to 6th from 8th. He was in 8th previously after he bumped the wall and had to pay a penalty. Tokyo is bounding ahead. He's really doing exceptionally well. Barrelz not so well. They're on the same tyre, which means that we can really see this as a kind of indicator of performance deficit. Behind him, swarming all over the place, Z, Thor, Judoka. It's and this is allowing. It's much like earlier when they were all stuck behind Test Tube. This is allowing cars behind to catch up and those further ahead to get away. So we should see Belvika coming up on this little group very, very rapidly. So there we are. They're still behind Barrelz. This is the main straight, so if they're going to be able to do it, it's now. But the Nissan does have pretty good top speed. It's just the cornering where it's not quite so outstanding. On board with Barrelz, and you can see in the rearview mirrors of these cars as we switch between them that it's very scary. With Thor, Thor is sandwiched between all the cars. He's kind of boxed in. If something bad happens, he'll be right in the thick of it. So we're coming up. We're very close to the corner. Coming up to the braking zone. Be in the braking zone now. Hard braking. It's really a game of chicken through here. And I think that was a little bit of a bump. 4 made a little bit of a bump on Z, causing Z to get a little bit of an advantage, enough to get past Barrelz. I think that he would have done that anyway, but that certainly, I think, helped him. So now Thor is stuck behind Barrelz and Z's gotten ahead. Will Z be able to make up the time to catch up with Tokyo? We'll have to see. And now, indeed, Belvika has caught up with the rest of the pack. He's having a little short-lived duel with Judoka. Now, in the standings, in the championship standings, of course, Belvika and Judoka are the main rivals. Oh, it's Barrelz. Barrelz has got a penalty. That'll be a great relief for Belvika and Judoka and Mop Racer as well. It means that Barrelz is going to have to slow down off the racing line. He does so now. The other drivers get past him fairly quickly. So, as I was saying, Belvika and Judoka, current championship rivals. 56 points for Belvika in the lead. Judoka, previous NGT champion, 44 points. Now, anything can happen in the championship series with this race and 3 more races beside to go. So it's really up in the air, and it's possible that Bushy or Super Chicken could do it, but neither of them are in this race, so that's a huge disadvantage to them. Belvika has managed to get ahead of Thor, and Judoka's not. Judoka will want to... Basically, he might possibly resign himself to Belvika getting more points than him, but he'll try to keep the gap as narrow as possible, for sure. So that was fairly incident-free around that corner. The 3 drivers here behaving pretty well. These are some fairly, relatively top-notch drivers. We saw in the final round of NGT5 that Judoka was able to keep pace relatively well with Ebisu, who, well, he was the FIA Manufacturers Series champion, so that's quite some pedigree. It really gives you a chance to see what the drivers of this series are like compared to the very best. Now then, we're riding on board with Judoka now. He's right all over. He's all over the back of Thor, just scanning the rear bumper with the headlights like that. Now, this is a very treacherous sort of. It's 2 corners technically, but it really handles like a double apex corner. Okay, has a look, doesn't manage to make an overtake work. He'll be using the slipstream now and trying to get an advantage for that first hairpin. Further back you can see Mop Racer and Barrelz having their own little duel. This one is certainly the closest at the moment. He goes for it. He makes a move. Is he going to be able to make it stick? The inside of that kink just after the pit lane exit. Yep, he does. He's come out in front, having used that little rightward kink to his advantage. Now, here's Mop further behind. He's been pulling away from Barrelz. Gunslinger Nunu, having overtaken Jag, he seems to have got the better of that battle. I don't know what's happened to Jag, because he seems to be much further back. We didn't really see what happened there. But it seems that Nunu isn't completely out of the running here. Right, let's have a look. We're coming to the point where we should be seeing the first pit stops at the end of this lap. So let's see how that goes. It's Thor here is a little bit further back from Judoka. Judoka is really only interested in how he'll finish relative to Belvika, I suspect. Further back, right, now it's Test Dude versus Nunu. We've seen previously that the Honda and the Renault are fairly evenly matched for top speed, but the NSX seems to have a massive advantage through the corners. You could see Nunu just effortlessly dispatching Test Dude through that sequence of S's. Okay. Tokyo enters the tunnel. He's about to complete the... Oh no, sorry, this is only the end of the 8th racing lap, so... Well, it could be this one or the next one. Okay, so they stay out. The top cars stay out. It looks like everybody is staying out, actually. The medium tyres have not worn out very badly, but Barrelz comes in. Barrelz in the Nissan, which I previously observed had higher tyre wear around... Oh, hello, that was a little bit of a clumsy corner from Belvika. I think he's just... the tyres are starting to show their age. It's just not at the point where it's losing a serious amount of time. So Test Dude's also come into the pits. Barrelz comes out... well, let's see. Yeah, he comes out rather significantly behind the front, but let's see if the undercut will help him to make up time, as he's got fresh tyres on an open road. That's bound to be good for him. The battle for first is heating up, or should I say the battle for second. You can see that Tokyo's got, well, he is losing a little bit of time. You can see his rear tyres in particular are almost half worn. He's really going to want to think about coming in either this lap or certainly the next lap. Z and Belvika behind are the ones fighting here. Oh no, I tell a lie. I think Z's pulled out a little bit from Belvika. Okay, so I suspect that Tokyo, or at least one of these cars in the top 3, is going to be coming into the pits. Into the tunnel. And no, it looks like none of them are. They're all staying out. Every single one of the top 5. Mop. Oh, he's low on fuel. He might... No, he's going up for one more lap. Well, there's no way that he's not coming in the next lap, not with the fuel indicator looking like that. You can see on the bottom left that the various fuel levels of the cars at the moment. Now, Barrelz and Jag. I think that was Barrelz on hard, Jag on hards. Test Dudes come out on softs. Okay, so the strategies are beginning to open out a little. Oh, Z's closed in on Tokyo. Tokyo is now really struggling. You could see him flailing around through those S's. He's over a second down on pace, and that's just from the first sector. I think that the Ferraris are much better on tyre wear. You can sort of see that, or it might just be that Z is a smoother driver. Honestly, though, I think Tokyo's made a pretty good name for himself as somebody who can drive smoothly. So Z's now taken the lead because Tokyo's hit the wall and is having to slow down the racing line. Now, Z did overtake before he made that slow down, but I think that was during the time that Tokyo was hitting the wall. So They're pretty harsh, the wall collision penalties that the game has. It's to prevent gaining a massive advantage by just sort of pinballing your car around. Now, are we going to see some pit stops? Surely we must. So here's Judoka and Tokyo, very close together. Tokyo taking maximum advantage of the slipstream. There we go, Belvika and Z both in the pits. And I think we should see one more pop in. There we go, Thor with the very, very low fuel level. At the front, where the interesting stuff is happening, Judoka and Tokyo are so close together as they come into the first corner. You can barely recognise them as separate when they're at a sort of distance. Belvika in fourth, quite a way behind Z. Thor's just come out, he's on fresh mediums. Barrelz. What was that? Was that him paying? Oh yeah, he's on. Was that Barrelz paying off a penalty or something? But I don't know what's going. Oh, he must be. Yeah, he must have been away from the controller or something. I don't know. When the car ghosts, it either means you're paying off the penalty or you're coming out of the pits, or that you've sort of let the car drive itself while you take care of real life. Well, you know, real life does happen. Tokyo right behind Judoka. The distance has opened up a little bit, but in the curves, I think that was a skid from Judoka, and he sort of slid into the wall and had a penalty to pay, allowing Tokyo to take position. Tokyo now in first. He's slipped into and out of first position for a little while. He's sort of indicating that he's going to be going to the pits. I mean, look at the state of those tyres on the indicator to the bottom left. Judoka gets past again just because of, well, the differences in top speed. They both go into the pit lane, so close together. In they come. Right, so it's a race now to see who will end up in the lead now. Z and Belvika with the undercut, Tokyo or Judoka. Tokyo and Judoka have the overcut strategy, so they'll be a little bit better toward the end of the stint. But those who undercut have a more immediate advantage. They're able to make up time on a clear track. Tokyo and Judoka have a busy track, and I suppose in Tokyo's case that's an advantage because his car's top speed really depends on having other cars ahead of him to slipstream off. So it might be a deliberate choice on his part. We'll have to see how that works out for him. It looks like after the first round of pit stops that Nunu and Test Dude are back into dueling again. Belvika behind Z. Being a reserve driver for the DNA Oracle team, it might be more in Z's interests to try to hinder Belvika rather than trying to go for the glory himself. Try to basically interfere in an above board way, of course, with Belvika's race, so that Judoka can make up some time. It is risky though, because any time that you slow down your car in order to try to play defence, you do run the risk that you not only are now slower, you've now lost time, but it also means that your tyres are cooler, your brakes are cooler, and it means that your car might handle differently for the next few turns, so it can certainly throw you off. It's not worth the risk in most cases. On board with Judoka. There's a blue flag going on. I don't know why Judoka's receiving that, but never mind. He's pulling up very close. Oh, that is a huge draft, and a consequence, I think, of also the Ferrari having a higher top speed than the Aston Martin. It's not enough, though, as you can see. Belvika remains ahead, but only just. Barrelz and Mop having a duel here. Barrelz already his medium tyres are losing it, and 4 goes through. He's knocked over one of those barrels, though. I mean, I'd say that's ironic, but it wasn't Barrelz who knocked over the barrel. That was definitely Thor who knocked over the barrel. Sorry, Mop, did I say? Wait, was that Barrelz managed to overtake Mop again? I believe it was. Yes, you could see that having knocked over a barrel, Mop lost speed out of that corner, and Barrelz got through again. So I suppose the barrels helped Barrelz out. Into the S's. Oh, you could see the speed and momentum from Mop there caused him to really swoop around that corner, go a little bit wide. This happened again just now. Oh, he's weaving all over the back of Barrelz. Barrelz doesn't have to give way. He doesn't have to make it easy for Mop. Even if Mop does have a clear pace advantage, they're both racing in the same way. Neither is lapping the other. It's anyone's race as far as they're concerned. Belvika and Judoka now. Judoka's finally managed to catch right up to Belvika in the main straight. As with the previous lap, he has a higher top speed. He's going to be able to... He is staying behind. I wonder if he's going to try and pull out at the last moment. Get the slipstream for as long as possible. Try to not risk any possible switchback. Barrelz having a look with the superior top speed of the Nissan over the McLaren. I think has better acceleration. Well, no, nothing accelerates better than a GTR, they say, but the McLaren is certainly up there. And whoa, smashing! Now Mop has succeeded here where previously he failed. That was a much cleaner pass. It was right through, cut through like a knife through butter. A hot one at that. Judoka is still behind Belvika. He's tailing him furiously around the S's. They seem to be on basically the same strategy. Actually, no. Judoka is on a different strategy. He actually has the fresher tyres than Belvika, so it's going to be very frustrating. He's going to feel that he absolutely must get past Belvika at the moment just for his strategy to have made any sense. Again, following very closely through the main straight. Z currently in the lead, as he has been for a couple of laps now, I think. But it's now very close, and yeah, Belvika made a move for it. Z kind of got out of the way there. I think he decided it wasn't worth fighting for whatever reason. Backs out of it and slips in behind Judoka. Now the top two championship rivals are in the lead of the race. It's the 15th racing lap out of 20. And that means we're now in the third of the race. Well, we're about to be. We should be. I mean, there have been some at least one driver I saw on softs. Now Gunslinger Nunu is on softs, and so is Test Dude. Test Dude's completely worn out his tyres. He's coming in. I think Nunu stopped a lot more recently. He might be able to make it the rest of the race on softs if he can drive smoothly enough. Belvika in the lead. Judoka still very, very close behind. They're stuck together like glue. Honestly, it's very, very close stuff and very risky stuff, especially since we've seen a few cars around this latter part of the course bang into a wall, and that can cause some serious problems for the driver immediately behind, as we've seen. Oh, Belvika went a little bit wide there, took a wide line through there, hasn't lost position because of it, but may have lost some speed. Let's see. Judoka in a similar position. Is he riding the slipstream deliberately? I don't think so, because you can see that he is at full throttle. He's not dialed it back in any way in order to remain deliberately behind Belvika for slipstream benefits. It can really help you save fuel, and if you're making the person ahead of you expend more fuel, then you can be a little bit more free in where you save and where you spend. Going into the first corner, seems like nothing out of the ordinary, but Tokyo has a look, and he goes around the inside of Z. There is some contact. It's nothing serious. It's just a little bit of rubbing. That barrel gets flung across the course again. There's been a position change. We couldn't see it, but Belvika and Judoka, they're swapping positions right now. We're not seeing it. Oh, we're seeing it now. So Judoka has managed to, around the S's, he's managed to, I think he's been studying Belvika's lines perhaps, and trying to take advantage through a part of the course where it's not completely obvious how to get past the driver ahead, not without knowing what their lines are. So now the position is reversed, and Judoka is pulling away fairly rapidly, it seems, from Belvika. Previously, Belvika hadn't even been able to shake Judoka, but Judoka seems able to shake Belvika. That means that, to my mind, that means that Judoka has the better pace here. Well, there we are. Hello. Judoka and Belvika. Judoka pulls over to the opposite side of the road. He sort of goes off the racing line, possibly to try and shake Belvika, but Belvika follows him round regardless, meaning that Belvika feels very dependent on that slipstream. Judoka's trying to break the slipstream. Belvika pops into the pits. No, he doesn't. No, I'm so sorry. He didn't pop into the pits. He went round the outside, disappeared off the camera, and then reappeared ahead of Judoka. Astonishing. But, I'm not quite sure how he did that, to be honest. They were going roughly the same speed. Judoka takes a wild line on a straight, and somehow ends up ahead of Judoka. Barrelz here with Gunslinger Nunu close behind. Nunu's mostly been relegated to the back, fighting with the Renault team, Heineken Racing. But right now, that was a little bit of a bump. Took that a little bit badly. But he goes around the inside of Barrelz. A good Barrelz does tend to go round and take a... I think he brakes a little bit too late for that corner, goes around the outside. It makes it a little bit too easy for drivers to pass him. Nunu very wisely making use of the slipstream against the considerably faster Nissan. Round the twisting second half of the course. Nunu has managed to remain ahead of Barrelz. Right, are we going to see some pit stops? Probably not. I think that it's actually been largely a number of one-stop strategies with the medium tyres. We're already on we're coming up to the start of the 18th racing lap. There we go. Judoka in the lead. Fair way ahead. He's pulled out, as you can see, from Belvika's position. Tokyo third, somewhat distantly. Wide line there from Judoka. It's a very difficult corner to judge the braking and turn-in point for. If you go into brake too early, you'll find yourself running up against some of those barrels, which are quite large and heavy, can really muck up your lap. If you go around, if you brake a little bit too late, you could find yourself taking a very, very wide line that's very slow. And if you accelerate too fast out of that corner, it's the corner that's most prone to throwing you off. I may be mistaken, but I think that Belvika's caught up with Judoka to some extent. I wonder if that's to do with tyre wear. I wonder if it's to do with Judoka wanting to save a little bit more fuel than he anticipated, because Belvika's doing a little bit better on fuel. They do seem fairly similar on tyre wear. Belvika takes a much better line through there. Now, is he going to pull off the same trick again? Because I really want to see how he did this. Okay, no, he's just faster. He's just outspeeding Judoka. Overtakes pretty easily. Okay, it seems that the well, you know, I think maybe the Aston Martin has better mid-range power than the Ferrari. The Ferrari, I think, has a better top speed that takes longer to get there. Right now, it is the penultimate lap. So, Judoka has all to play for now. We know that Belvika has enjoyed a little bit of a pace advantage, but this is probably the one chance that Judoka will have to make things work, because Belvika's been a little bit weak over the last lap or so, allowing Judoka to catch up somewhat. Further back is Tokyo in third, with Z fourth. Z's struggled a little bit. We saw him earlier where he allowed Belvika and Judoka to go past. Not entirely sure why, but I think it's possible that he's just trying to conserve, you know, hoping for third or fourth rather than blowing it all and finishing lower down. Now, is this an overtaking move? It's not. It's just having a look. Judoka swarming over the back of Belvika's car. How you could possibly swarm as a single unit is beyond me, but Judoka's doing a good job of it. Belvika very much under pressure now. Takes the final corner just about as well as he always does. Judoka manages to clean up his act around that corner though. Makes it much better run of it through there. Now, we've seen before that Judoka does have trouble actually passing Belvika here, so I'm not really expecting to see much on this straight as they come into the final lap. So again, it's the final lap. Belvika, the current championship leader, is leading Judoka, who's second. They have a they have a difference of 12 points between them. If Belvika wins, the split will increase by another 4 points. Tokyo's just been overtaken by Z. Tokyo and Z, and Tokyo nearly lost control of the car there. He went oversteering through that very treacherous and difficult first hairpin, nearly lost control, got it back. He's going to be really hoping for some kind of a Hail Mary pass against Z. Meanwhile, in the front of the pack, Judoka's desperate to get past. He's very low on fuel. His tyres are beginning to show signs of wear. He's sort of sliding about, going to the extreme sides of the track in order to find any kind of gap he can make stick. And he charges up he just has a look. He would have wanted to charge up the inside there, around that chicane. Closely followed by a second duel that's been unfolding between Tokyo and Z. But we're now coming up to the last two corners. Here we go. Belvika, all he has to do is take this corner with his shot-through tyres and his low fuel, the way that he always does. He goes wide. He goes a little bit too wide there. He goes so wide, in fact, that it's given Judoka, I think it's given him hope that he'll be able to get by. We're on board now with Judoka, right behind Belvika. It's a close gap, but I fear it's not close enough. Belvika has about 5 seconds to go until he crosses the line. So it's so close, it's so close. Judoka draws alongside and they cross the line. Belvika wins the round 4 NTT 2019 race, and that was astonishingly close. There must have been less than a tenth of a second in that. Photo finish, you might say. Belvika first, Judoka second, Z third and fourth to Tokyo, who just doesn't quite manage to get back the position in the fight for third. Fifth to Thor, and sixth, having run out of fuel, he's pretty safe. He's not going to be caught up with. So Mop is running on the reserve tank as he crosses the line. A surprising 7th position for gunslinger Nunu, who started at the very back, had a number of duels with the Renault Megane Heineken racing team. Barrelz probably has done the worst out of this race. Started well, managed to fend off a lot of people for a long time. Just had problems, and I think that car was not particularly suited to the circuit. And then we have Test Jude and Jag bringing up the rear. Fantastic race from Belvika and Judoka. They've both done exceedingly well. I think they've certainly deserved the success that they got here. And man, that was such a close ending to the race. Well, it's time now to look at the results. So, the new championship standings. It's Belvika. He has pulled out even further in the lead on the championship. He's now a whole 16 points ahead. Judoka in second, and it's actually a tie at the moment between Bushi, who couldn't make this race, had to have a reserve driver fill in, and Mop Racer, who did a pretty good job in this race. And then Thor 1 point behind that lot, and Super Chicken has dropped significantly in the standings. Had been second, is now 6th. As far as the Constructors' Championship goes, looking at the team standings, it's DNA Oracle in the lead now. They had been second. I think that's the only change of position. So there's only 1 point between them. DNA Oracle team with 109 points, Virgin Zuma with 108. And DHL Terrapins and Heineken Racing are now at a tie. They're now, you could say, direct rivals, and you can ignore Agip Motorsports now as the team has dissolved. They are still in the standings though, and so it just remains for Zonavi to start making up positions. I believe they can do so. I mean, look, they came joint second in terms of overall points scored this race. I think we can look forward to more good stuff from them. And speaking of which, congratulations to Tokyo for coming back after being away for a little while, having a nice holiday, to come fourth. So, that was it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching this race as much as I have enjoyed commentating it. And see you next time.